All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on Keeping It Real with Credit, live and direct. As you know, try to be there every week. But for the most part, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing because if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing because on this channel we talk anything and everything regarding credit, personal finance, tips and tricks on real estate, automotives, you name it. You're definitely gonna go ahead and find it here. And as you know, I do these lives as much as possible to get the opportunity to get you at guys to answer to ask some questions regarding your credit, and see how I can help you guys as much as possible. So with that being said, just a few things as I usually go about this. Feel free to add your questions onto the chat box there, and I'll be able to answer any questions you guys want here live and direct. And I'm also going to show you some before and after results from some of our current clients. If you guys didn't know, we have our own credit restoration clients where we're helping hundreds and thousands of people improve their credit score, achieving their financial goals, whether it's buying a car, buying a home. You're definitely going to go ahead and get that here out of us. And so the purpose of me just showing these results to you guys is to show you guys the journey in which people have taken, giving us the opportunity to go ahead and fix their credit, and just kind of giving you guys a realistic journey as to where they started off and where they ended up at, and how fast did we make that happen for them. So obviously everybody in here that I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, vary in time frame in which they've been here, but for the most part, everybody has great results. Again, if you're new to this channel, that number on the screen is our direct number right here right now in our offices. If you want to go ahead and take advantage of a free credit evaluation, I highly suggest that you do so. It's 100% free, and it's just a lot of information regarding credit, how it works in general, the factors that make up credit, and everything customized to what you guys have on your recent copy of your credit report. So with that information, we'll be able to break down exactly what's on there, what's negative, what's not, what weighs heavier than others, and what's the plan of attack that we're willing to provide for you to include pricing. So pricing is always based on the amount of negative items you guys have on there. I hope that you guys can understand from that, right, reasonably. I'm not going to charge somebody for somebody that has one negative item in comparison to somebody that has 80 negative items, right? For the most part, what we do and what really separates us from the majority is that we're one of the few companies that will dispute all items all at once on a month-to-month basis, and that does include personal info as well. The only thing that really dictates an additional service fee, which would be treated just like another account, is inquiries, right? Because inquiries only account for 10% of your credit score. But I know that in the banking industry, in the underwriting guidelines, having too many inquiries can cause you to be denied. They might just not tell you that. So we want to be very careful and crucial as to not only understand credit, but understand what's on our credit report and how that's currently affecting us, right? Or how that's affecting us in the way that it's holding us back from achieving our financial goals. So, with that being said, guys, feel free to go ahead and call the number on the screen if you want to take advantage right now to take advantage of the free credit evaluation. It is only 20 minutes of your time, and we email you a full detailed analysis as to what was going on with your report, um, highlighting all the negative factors that you have. And again, you do not have to do business with us. You can just simply take advantage of the free evaluation, take that home with you, and have a lot of information regardless, right? Or you can go ahead and give us, trust in us, and that we'll be able to work for you right away as soon as possible. So let me give a quick shout out to you guys. Jay Craig, you was the first one. What's up, man? How you doing? Lacacious, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Good afternoon, man. How you doing? Don H, what are some credit tips you can give for people who don't have a lot on their profile and have a thin profile and can't get approved? That's a great question, and that really, you just reminded me of the additional service that we're actually providing, which is trade lines. So for somebody, see, when we look at this question, right, I like to give, Jay Craig, I apologize for that, man. When we look at something that's, when it comes to credit, right, we have to take a look at the whole credit report, right? And if we want to get approved for some sort of funding, credit cards, loans, and things like that of that nature, what we have to understand is that we have to look on paper, right? as a person that can handle the amount that's going to be lended to us, right? That's going to be asked for, and that constituted with how much you're getting paid versus what your expenses are on a month-to-month basis. And we want to show the banks that we have a track record of paying on time. That's why collections and late payments and charge-offs and things of that nature really affect the lending decision. And if you do get approved, um, it's going to be at a higher interest rate because you're going to be considered a high risk, right? And things can become very expensive. But the mentality of the bank when it comes to that is that they're going to charge you a high interest rate because they're anticipating that you're going to bail out on them, that you're not going to be able to pay on time. I guess as it shows on your credit report, right? If you have collections of that sort. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to collect as much money as they can possible in the beginning to anticipate just not paying anymore, unfortunately, right? But obviously, the purpose of credit restoration is to dispute and to remove any negative items, right, from your credit report that may be inaccurate or incomplete. And the way that we do that is that we aggressively dispute and challenge that information on a credit report. And we force the credit bureaus or creditors to go ahead and respond to us with the documentation that we're requiring that proves that the information they're truly reporting is whether accurate or verifiable or complete, right? And so what we need to do is that we're looking to go ahead and buy a home, purchase a car, um, get approved for funding, right? Maybe you want to open up your own business. We have to look on paperwork that we can handle the amount we're asking for, that we are able to pay on time, and removing the collections, the late payments is the best way to do that, right? Contingent upon that there is a discrepancy within the way it's reporting or the paperwork they have on the back end, which can only be uncovered, right, during the investigative disputing process, right? And that's pretty much, with that, I think I should be able to frame the mindset, right, as to um, the understanding of how a credit report should look like, right, to take advantage of the lending as much as possible, right? And then at that point, obviously, we need to manage our debts accordingly, responsibly, and be able to pay on time to be able to have the opportunity to ask for more money in the future in case you need it, right? For an emergency, for an investment opportunity, for a business, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're going ahead and trying to do. For somebody that's really building credit, maybe you're a kid or maybe you're just starting off because you've been paying in cash all the time. I usually tell people to look for authorized users or trade lines. So authorized users is just basically, let's say, I always like to give the example because way back in the days, I started that off with my mom. My mom has always had great credit. She had a specific credit card that she added me as an authorized user, which was a Chase credit card, and it was a limit for $15,000. And my mom had that account open for over 10 years, never missed a payment. And my mom is a type of person who, just like a lot of people, they're very scared of debt. So my mom rarely used that card. So when she added me as an authorized user on that card reported on my credit report like if I had a $15,000 credit card open for 10 years and never missed a payment. That right there really shot my score up over 160 points or so. That really set the tone for my lending opportunity when it came to me buying or leasing out my vehicle at that time frame. And so trade lines, which we do sell, by the way, do the same exact thing. We have agreements, and we have agreements with a lot of people that have been in our program, friends and family that have great credit scores, great credit limits on these cards. But we have the agreement between us and them is that we have a very strict process. So we obviously do business with them to allow us to be able to add you guys if you guys need it, um, authorized user for a very short amount of time, which is around 60 days. So if you're a few points shy, if you're looking to get approved for a higher limit, whether it's a personal loan, a car, or maybe a home, we have trade lines that are season trade lines that have less than 15% utilization. That is one of our requirements. Must never have missed a payment and allow us to report you guys for 60 days. These accounts will report on your credit report like if you had those big limits for the same amount of years with no late payments, right? Obviously, it's not going to be as effective if you're coming into our program with 10 collections, right? We obviously have to address those collections before we add those trade lines on there so that that way they're not you know uh they have the impact, right, when it comes to your credit score. However, if you are that type of person that do have some collections, late payments, charge off, repossessions, bankruptcies, anything of that nature, we obviously can take care of that first as well with our credit restoration program. We go ahead and aggressively dispute the items reporting on your credit report that are negatively impacting your score and get those items removed. The fact that we dispute all items all at once, whether you have one or 120 items reporting, we will dispute all items all at once on a month-to-month basis. That just results in the quickest time frame, the quickest turnaround possible. Right now, on average, our clients are staying in our program on a worst case scenario anywhere between 6 to 8 months. And to be honest with you, that's way better than waiting out 7 years till things fall off of your credit report. And 7 years can be long to get into your next car, your next vehicle. So if we're gonna pay money with the purposes of getting these items removed from your credit report, paying a collection is not going to do that. But paying maybe a credit restoration company, or maybe you guys doing it yourself, may be the best way possible that things could be done in the shortest amount of time. However, there are people that are getting done in our program within the first 30, 60, or even 90 days, right? That really doesn't happen for everybody because it truly depends on the information that's reporting on the credit reporting side, on the collection side, the bank side, whoever that creditor may be, right? And so those are the things that we look at. We make sure that the name is spelled correctly, inquiries are valid or whatnot. The information currently reporting on there is the same information that the creditors on the rest of the credit report have, right? So that's where we go ahead and challenge those things. And so definitely, I would recommend doing that. J. Craig, is it better to pay extra every month on credit card bills to show a good payment history, or if you have the money to pay them off, should you pay them off? Should you pay them off? Credit score speaking. So that's a great question as well, right? So we have to keep in mind that when it comes to paying off credit cards, and I see a bunch of people do this all the time, where they use the credit card and either they pay it that same day or the next day. That's great for the credit card company. However, the credit bureaus do not know that you're doing that. And so we have to understand that when we look at a credit card, we have to understand that a credit card has a due date, the day that you have to pay at least a minimum on that card. And then you have the report date, the date in which that bank, that credit card is going to report that information, whatever it's obtained in the last 30 days to the credit bureaus, right? And so knowing that, now you're in control, right? On the due date, you have to pay at least a minimum. And on the report date, you want to make sure that by the time it reports on the report date, that your balance is reflecting a 30% of the limit or below. So whatever the limit is, divide by 3 and make sure that you never pass that. If the 30% of the limit is way past your budget, because some of you guys may have a higher limit credit card, then bring it down to 10, bring it down to 20 or 10%, right? And make sure to never pass that. That puts you in a position where you're able to pay your balances off in full every time, right? And also get the advantages of that card reporting a 30% or zero balance every month. That's going to ultimately increase your credit score. You know what that also is going to do? Banks, credit card companies make money off of the fees that they charge you, late fees, interest fees, annual fees, and things like that of that nature. In my experience, what I found out is that the more you're able to pay your balances off in full every time, the bank doesn't make money off of you. So let's say, for example, my Capital One card. On the due date, I'm always paying my balances off in full. The reason why I don't mind paying my balances off in full is because to me, there's no difference between paying your credit card and transferring money from your checking to a savings account. It's available right away. You might wait a day, but for the most part, that if you owed $500 and you transferred or you paid $500 to your credit card, it's available right away. And so, because it's available right away, that puts you, I mean, you really didn't use the money. The money's still available now, just in a form of credit, right? And if that card gives you points, cashbacks, travel miles, then that dollar just went a longer way when it comes to that, right? And you can really rack up that cash, the cash back, which I love, right? I have all my bills on that Capital One credit card because it gives me 1.5% cash back on everything, meaning every one of my bills that I'm able to pay on that credit card is 1.5% cheaper and then that cash back I kind of recycle that back right into my balance. And so when it comes time for me to pay my balance in full, I'm not paying as much as I would as, if I didn't recycle that account back, right? And so if you're going to pay a card, make sure you pay it between the time frame of the due date and the report date. You're able to by your card company, asking them when your report date is, or when the due date is, and when the report date is, or end of cycle date. It's typically around 4 to 5 days after your due date, but please confirm with your bank so that way you're in control. And so if you use the card, right? So for me, for example, on my Capital One card, I pay that account is due on the first. That doesn't report to the fifth of the month. So all my bills that I have assigned to that credit card will only take effect until after the report date. So on the 6th of the month, I can max out that card if I wanted to. If I needed to, the credit bureaus will not know. They only know what's going on with that account once a month. So knowing that, now you're in control of what reports and your credit score. Obviously, you want to keep it at a 30% maximum. But I always, all my cards report as a zero balance every month. And so now the credit card companies see that I'm paying the balances off in full. They're not making money off of it because when you pay your balance off in full, they don't charge you interest on that. And so what they do is that they raise my credit limit, and they raise my credit limit and they congratulate me for that. But the real reason why they're raising that credit card limit is to make sure that they put you in a position where you're not able to pay that balance in full, because if you can't pay the balance in full, now they can charge you interest. Does that make sense? So you always want to put yourself in a position where you're pay your balance in full. However, 30% of your credit score, which is the second biggest factor, has to do with the total availability of credit. How much available credit you have combined amongst all your credit cards and your credit report, right? And the higher that limit is, the stronger and the higher credit score is going to be. But as long as you're disciplined and you maintain that 30% threshold or below, then you should always be on point when it comes to that. So pay your credit cards if you are between the dates of the due date and the report date, and make sure that by the report date it reports as low as a balance as you can as possible. And guys, sometimes you may just have to switch your mentality a little bit, right? Change that mindset. Don't consider your credit card as a bill. You're transferring money to your credit card, as opposed to, because see, sometimes people want to pay their credit card, and when you say pay, it's a little bit more difficult to let that money go, right? But hey, I'm going to go ahead and transfer some money over to my credit card to lower my balance, and that money that I just transferred over, again, it's going to be available right away. So hopefully that right there makes some sense to you guys. And Jay Craig, hopefully that answers your question on there. In the meantime, what I'm going to go ahead and do right now before I go on my next question, let me go ahead, guys, and post, guys, the new website that you're able to go ahead and request some more information. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it here, guys. If you go on the website, on the Keeping It Real with Credit website, you scroll down below, you're able to go ahead and book your appointment here with us. It's going to ask you some preliminary questions that's very important for us to know. That'll give us a better idea, perspective as to what you would like done with your credit. And it definitely helps my process team to go ahead and build a strategy around what the credit report has if you choose to do business with us, right? So hopefully that answers your question, and that's the link right there. Feel free to click on the link and schedule. If not, call the number on the screen and talk to us right now, right away. All right, so clock 99 times. What's up? I've only been on my job for 1 year. Oh, I'm sorry. You did write a question here before. Let me go back, guys. Even though I have not had a long-term mortgage payment, if though my credit is excellent, would that still hinder me from getting a home loan? Not at all. It doesn't hinder you from getting your home loan. I believe if you're going to be considered for a home loan, they want to see at least 3 to 6 months of bank statements. They want to be able to see the income coming in, just to kind of justify what you're able to get approved for. A good rule of thumb as far as the amount that you could get approved for is whatever your annual salary is, multiply that by 3, and that's more or less the amount of home you can get, if that makes sense, right? Some people get approved for higher, for lower. If you have some money saved up where you get to put down, you can probably get more, but give or take 3 times your annual salary is more or less the amount of home you can get approved for, right? Considering that your credit and everything is on point, and allows for that, right? Jack Strack, what's up, man? Thank you for all your videos and the time for making these videos. Thank you so much, Jack. I do enjoy helping and informing all of you guys out, and now having the opportunity to be able to fix you guys' credit and get your credit scores as high as possible when it comes to that. Mike Caston, can you speak on credit after bankruptcy? Sure. So really quick, bankruptcy, what it does is it really focuses on the debt and it wipes off the debt. Now, depending on Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, those specific obviously vary with what your situation is. But for the most part, bankruptcies do stay on your credit report. Based on the FICO scoring algorithm, it does classify a bankruptcy, whether it's you're going through it, well, from the moment it reports, right, as something negatively impacting your score. Can we remove a bankruptcy from a credit report? Absolutely. We definitely can remove a bankruptcy of your credit report. However, the cool thing is that doing credit restoration after a bankruptcy, can generate very great results because there's no debt attached to the accounts we're disputing. Therefore, it can be removed. However, if you are looking to buy a home and you just finished a bankruptcy, even after you remove the bankruptcy from your credit report, it doesn't remove it from the court systems, right? So if they want to do a background check, LexisNexis and stuff like that, that bankruptcy will appear on that end. However, for the most part, it won't report on your credit report after we remove it, right? But for the most part, I think I've heard of people jumping back into the credit game or having the opportunity to get funding or lending within 6 months or more realistically about a year after. That's why I usually recommend people to do credit restoration, whether it's with themselves, with us, or another company first, because it's more cost effective, right? Generally, for the most part, bankruptcies can get expensive, and you might have to let go of a few things that you have, but for the most part, it is an opportunity that everybody does have. So hopefully that answers your question, Mike. Barbie Boo Boo, what's up? Is it good to have an available credit versus using all the available credit? Definitely, it's definitely better to have available credit versus using. You don't want to max out all of your available credit, right? That will drop your credit score. Remember, like I said, you want to maintain everything between 30% or below, right? And that right there, for the next bank that's going to look at your credit report, they're going to see, wow, this person knows how to manage and handle all their credit lines effectively. They've never missed a payment, right? The point is, guys, is to put yourself in a position where you're not going to miss a payment, right? So if you're getting loans and you're getting credit cards, especially, right, calculate be smart about it, right? Really analyze, hey, how much is it that I'm making, that I'm bringing in as an income versus how much the total available credit that I have here, right? And in order for me to continue to pay my balances off in full, what's the maximum I'm allowed to go ahead and spend on these lines of credits? In addition to that, I would highly suggest to not use your debit card and your credit card, because when you use both, when you use your debit card and let's say you run out of money there, people tend to use their credit cards. And now what you've spent in total can surpass the amount of income you have coming in for the month. That's why it's very important to, with me especially, all my bills are on my credit cards. Anything I can pay with a credit card, I will pay with a credit card, right? I have this math in my head already that instead of, I'm gonna spend on my credit card, right, for the most part, and rack up cash back, miles, points, and all these incentives that I get with these credit cards, and use my checking account or my debit card as little as possible, only taking from my checking account the amount I need to replenish or to transfer over to my credit cards, right? And so I already know what my expenses are for the month when it comes to car insurance and all these other things that I have added on there, and I make sure that these things come out of my credit card, only. And then things like rent and car are basically the only additional things that can be taken out from there. But for the most part, it's worked great for me. And I think people need to change their relationship as how they look at their debit card and checking account. Because guys, at the end of the day, when you spend $1 on a credit card, you have 30 days to pay that dollar back, right? But when you spend a dollar on a debit card, it's gone, and you have to literally wait till the next payday till you get it, right? And so, credit cards offer a lot of flexibility, but for the most part, you still have to be responsible for it, right? And you want to make sure that you're not overspending. So what I've done a long time ago, I've actually shredded my checking account, my debit card. I don't use it because to me, my checking account, me with the mindset that I've prepared myself for, my checking account is only there to receive the income that I have coming in. But for the most part, taking out as little as possible, replenish my credit cards, which is why I've given myself that 30% threshold on all my cards that I will never pass from there, right? Even if they raise the limit, to a ridiculous amount, I'm gonna still lower my percentage based on what's available, right? That way, I feel better. I feel a lot better that I'm able to pay my balances off in full all the time, every time, because I'm preparing it based on what my income is, right? If that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's keep on going. Sean Brunson, can you be on more than one authorized user credit? Absolutely. Yep. You can get added to all of your family members if you want. There's really no limit to whoever's willing to do that for you. Entrepreneur 3, if closed accounts is 2 years old, should I pay it off? Um, it depends. Is it with the original creditor still? And if it is, maybe you can negotiate a payment for delete or maybe dispute the item since it's been so long. The longer an account has been on your credit report, the higher the success rate of us getting it removed or you getting it removed if you dispute it accurately and correctly. Jay Craig, yes, this makes sense. Great info. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lisa Anthony, hey, how you doing? If creditors offer you a payout, how can you request that it only shows as paid in full and not lesser than the amount paid out? You can definitely, however, for the most part, that's very difficult to do, especially with original creditors. Ultimately, what you want to do is not have that account reported. So even if you pay the account, your concern shouldn't be whether the comment says paid or less than amount paid out, because even if you paid in full and let's say they do report it as paid, all the late payments that you've ever accumulated in that account, and to include with this charge off status and everything else, will remain on there. And so the algorithm that calculates your credit score, the FICO scoring algorithm, will still classify that account, even though it's paid, as negatively impacting your score. And this is what I also say about collections. A paid collections is just as bad as a non-paid collection. The collections is a collections and affects 35% of your credit score, the biggest factor in your credit. So ultimately, what you want to do is you want that account removed or those late payments reversed if you're able to conjure up some documentation, or if they have faulty documentation or the documentation that's incomplete or unverifiable based on the Fair Credit Reporting Act, to get that account removed in its entirety, right? And so I know we're trying to do the right thing by paying these accounts. But however, if we're looking to leverage our credit or use your credit here in the near future for whatever reason, then paying these accounts and just reporting as paid is simply not going to do anything for your credit. If anything, if those accounts have been on your credit report for quite some time, paying that account will re-age the amount of time that that particular account will remain on your credit report. So if it's been on your credit report for 2 years and you paid it, then you just extended that account that's going to remain on there for the additional 7 more years after the 2 it's already been on there. And so you want to be very careful with that. And that all goes with understanding how the credit algorithm works, how it reports, how the banks are looking at that information to determine whether they're going to pay you out something or not. So hopefully, Lisa, that answers your question on there. Clock 99 times. Sorry, I didn't clarify my question. I meant to say to get a home loan on the house that I own now. So yeah, so it looks like you're trying to get a refinance on there. Yeah, I think you can get a quote on a refinance for your home, and I think that's a very, very great strategy. One of my business partners here, that he's really knowledgeable on credit, and not only credit but real estate. He owns multiple properties down here in South Florida. And he's been able to refinance every home and use that money that he's gained from that to be able to for the next home. And he's just been playing that game, basically playing Monopoly and putting families in all these homes, and just generating some great revenue on there. So clock 99 times. I think that's a great strategy, but obviously it's contingent on what's on your credit report. I'd love the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of, take do a free evaluation for you to determine what's on your credit report and to see what kind of options you have to making your credit report look as great as possible to give you the best interest rate possible and the biggest amount of money for your return, right? At the end of the day, is what I tell people: the process of credit restoration, you should be looking at it as an investment as opposed to something like a gym membership or any some sort of subscription, because for the most part, whatever you pay us out in the time frame that you're here, it's going to be microscopic, right? Compared to the amount that's going to be lended to you, if you have, if you didn't have better credit, right? So for the most part, we're very, very affordable here. We have payment plan options. We do not do a one-time payment fee. That's actually illegal. But for the most part, we're highly, 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 highly affordable in comparison to a lot of the companies out there. So I highly encourage you guys to go ahead and take advantage of the free credit evaluation. All right, guys. And so let me go ahead and finish this. I know we went on a rant and great questions for you guys, and I hope you guys got a lot out of that. Let me go ahead and run by some of these before and after results from some of our clients here. And let me go ahead and set this over. Awesome. So, all right, guys. So, the first person that we see on here, we have 3 clients on here. The first person, by the way, guys, this is a copy of the analysis that you get emailed to you, whether you do business with us or not. And you'll be able to see all the information that we have here for you, right? So, it's a lot of credit knowledge information on here, the different credit scoring factors that are on here. And then, this is our client, right? So, it picks up from your credit report, and we're really able to illustrate this very simple and easy for you guys. But for the most part, as you see here, this client started with us on May 15th of 2020 with the scores of 608, 605, 620. And this part right here is my favorite because it really breaks down all the negative items you have across the 3 credit bureaus and why they're negative, right? Very simple, put together for you guys. So this customer started with us on May 15th with 8 negative items and 31 inquiries. Now, remember, guys, inquiries are an additional fee treated just like an account. But for the most part, some included, some don't. For the most part, inquiries are only 10% of your credit. This is his total available credit and how much he's used for it. So he's obviously over at the time that he came with us. He's obviously over the 30% threshold, right? And so this is number 2. This is as of September 15th of 2020. So he started with us May 15th. Now this is the new report as of September 15th, 2020. And in those few months, we was able to get him. We was able to get him right here, guys. So as of 9/15, he started in the low 600s. Now it's in the mid to high 700 credit scoring range, right? He with one item got removed, and again, guys, this is a great scenario. And then obviously he racked up a few more inquiries based on the increased credit score that we have here. But this is great, guys, because it just goes to show that credit restoration is a process, right? If something doesn't get removed in the first 30 or 60 days, that doesn't mean it won't get removed later on. But everything's a process. And our disputing strategy is very, very aggressive. And we don't ask, obviously, for everything all at once from month 1, right? Depending on their response back, we're able to go ahead and look at and analyze all the items on the credit report. And really go from there, right? Anticipating more details on the documentation they sent back, and really going into fine detail as to all the information that's reporting, right? Account numbers, balances, notes, comments, all these things. We really ask for all of those things over time, and eventually they do get removed because we eventually found the discrepancy, some sort of documentation that we found that was unverifiable, inaccurate, and complete within that 30-day time frame, resulting in this account being removed, right? And this right here just goes to show more or less of a summary. This is what we send our clients as well to give you a better picture of what was happening this month and compared to the other ones. So 16 items were deleted. For the most part, so this resulted in a 99-point increase, 113-point increase, and a 79-point increase. And here's, like, more or less the results of, obviously these new items were increased, as you saw there. So it really gives a snapshot as to what has happened. All right, so let's go ahead with the next client that we have here. So client number one started with, this is one of our older clients here. He started with us on December 27th of 2019. So he has been in our program. They have been in our program for this long, and they started off right here, 589, 584, and 593. So December 27th of 2019, and they started off with 17 negative items, right? And as you see, they're all listed right here. 3 public records, right? This is a bankruptcy as well. So for those of you guys that are wondering, this does pick up on bankruptcies too. And 4 inquiries, right? Not so bad from the beginning. So as of September the 3rd, right? So started with us December 27th. As of December the 3rd, this is where they're looking at today. Here we go. 636, 712, and 711. So we was able to break them through the 711s. Started with all those negative items, now down to 9, and we was able to remove the bankruptcy. As you see here, the bankruptcy is no longer on there. Inquiries remain the same. He hasn't really been applying for anything, but for the most part, we was able to remove that bankruptcy and remove the remaining negative items on here. So what's remaining is some of these student loans and some of these other accounts, but for the most part, the bankruptcy was removed, which resulted in this point increase. And for the most part, we updated a few accounts to positive. When we do that is we have a strategy where we're able to reverse late payments, right? We're able to go ahead and challenge the information, reverse late payments when it comes on there, right? And so this resulted in this point of an increase. And as you see here, we got Victoria's Secret, which is a new item they got approved for. Amazon credit card. This updated was the result of the late payment. So they had some late payments on there from their Amazon credit cards. And after challenging and disputing, we was able to reverse those late payments into positive payments. And the reason why you want to do that is because 35% of your credit score has to do with payment history, right? And so, right there, the biggest impact when it comes to your credit. And then let's go ahead and review client number 3. Started with us January. We're newer clients for the new year, January 9th of 2020, right? And if we scroll down a little bit further here, this client started off right here, 589, 571, and 580, right, as of January 9th, with a total of 10 negative items across 3 credit bureaus. No public records, but 20 inquiries, right? And so as of September the 1st, this is where they're at today. Here we go. 728, 663, and 662 came in with 10 negative items, only 3 remaining, meaning 1 account, right? 3 remaining because there's 3 credit bureaus, if that makes sense. So we was able to remove the majority of that. And guys, yes, they've been in our program since January. It's September now. Sometimes it does take this long to get these accounts removed, but it's way better than waiting out 7 years for something to come off. Now they've racked up a few more inquiries again due to their credit score going up. And so this right here is the result for deleted, and the added here are the inquiries, guys. So that way So Ali Financial and things like that, they're definitely looking forward to getting a vehicle here shortly, which is, as everybody knows, when you go to a dealership, they really shotgun blast your information on there, and that probably resulted in this. But for the most part, great results in a very short amount of time. If you ask me, again, waiting, it's a lot better than waiting out 7 years, right, to these accounts come off. So let me see here if there's any few additional last minute questions on here. Ronshia, hey, how you doing? I can't wait to see my results. Just crossed over to my 2nd month. Awesome. So definitely looking forward to sharing your results, getting back to you. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for the love and support. I'm going to call it a day today. I'm going to go ahead and get back to work, get down to some evaluations, and help to answer some of you guys' questions here today. So again, guys, if you want to go ahead and speak to me, feel free to call the number on the screen, option number 1. I'll definitely be here if you have any questions at all. But for the most part, take advantage of the free credit evaluation. Here's the link again, guys, once again, so that you guys could go ahead and schedule that in. And then we go from there. Yes, we could remove late payments. We could remove late payments. We could remove the whole account or even reverse late payments. So definitely take advantage of the free evaluation. Click on the link to my website. Scroll down just a little bit, or just click the book now button, or scroll down just a little bit where it says book an appointment. Select your time for your time zone. Put some information, answer the questions, and we will call you at your prescribed time. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for the love and support. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with family and friends. And until the next episode on Keeping It Real with Credit, peace. Thanks, guys.